That presupposes, of course, as Paul makes clear in Romans 1, that they know the truth. Even in heathendom, where the gospel is not preached, they know the truth. God reveals it to them in creation. He makes known that He is God, and that He must be worshipped and praised, and that everything else is idolatry. They build a system of thought that praises idolatry, and they change the glory of the invisible God into an image made like unto corruptible man. And behind that they safely hide and think themselves unscathed by the truth of the gospel. Strongholds, so they claim to be. So it is with pagan religions. Buddhism, Hinduism. My wife and I have been in pagan temples. It is almost more than one can bear if one is bound by the chains of the gospel. These people are enslaved by their systems of thought. And don't forget Buddhism, Hinduism, all the rest of the pagan religions are systems of thought. They're not just a matter of worshiping idols and bowing down to them. Books have been written about what they consider to be the knowledge that men ought to have. But these people who hide behind them are so completely enthralled with these pagan religions that they are slaves to them. It's terrible to witness this in practice. Those are constructed by Satan in heathen lands to serve as protection from the truth as it is in God. There was a time in the Christian church in its early history after the age of the apostles when a certain heresy arose called Gnosticism. And the genius, the devilish genius of Gnosticism was this: that while certainly there are certain aspects of Christianity that are good and ought to be accepted by man and are helpful in our search for truth, they are only part of what the body of truth is. There is good in heathen religions. There is good to be found in pagan thought. There is good to be found in the old Greek philosophers. And the true religion which this world is going to embrace someday, and which is, after all, the essence of Christianity, is a world of compromise, a world of tolerance, into which are brought all the good remnants of every religion on the face of the earth, including Christianity. And then we will have a religion that will serve as a point of agreement between all members of the human race. The church had an awful struggle with that. It took 200 years for the church to cast off that abominable teaching which just about ruined the church. And finally, the church came to understand through its struggle with Gnosticism, it can't be. The Christian faith stands apart. The Christian faith is from God. Pagan thought is of the imaginations of men. It exalts man. It extols his virtues. And there is no point of contact between the two. The fact that the church just about lost its existence in its battle with Gnosticism you would think that it would have taught today's wishy-washy and weak and careless and wicked theologians to learn the lessons, but they don't. They don't. Tolerance is the word of the day. Every religion has its good points. when the church will finally attain to its calling in the world is that time when all religions will be acceptable. And the good elements are taken out of each one. And all are mixed together in a cauldron of thought that is acceptable by all. Paul says, no, those are strongholds of the enemy behind which Satan protects those who do his will in the world. Early in the history of Greek civilization, there were the great towering philosophies of the Greek philosophers, beginning with Thales on through Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, and the rest. Marvelous systems of thought, intricate philosophies, woven together by brilliant men. Men of great learning, men of great understanding, men who construct systems that appeal, systems that are glowing in their beauty and logical consistency. They're the strongholds of Satan. That's what Paul is saying. When I was going to college, I had a Greek professor who was determined to impress us with a lot more things than the intricacies and niceties of the Greek language, and who wanted to impress upon us the glowing beauty of pagan Greek culture. It seemed like Plato himself was the favorite of this Greek professor, and he used to talk, in fact, in class of the fact that Plato climbed the ladder to God, rung by rung and step by step, with his marvelous philosophical system. The trouble was, and the professor said it almost with tears filling his eyes, he stopped one rung short. One more rung, and he would have been to God. But that doesn't mean we can't learn from his marvelous system of philosophy. Paul says that's imagination. That's part of all those high things that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. That's what it is. It's a stronghold behind which the wicked hide themselves to defend themselves from the onslaughts of the gospel and the truth of the revelation of God. The Roman Catholic Church never learned that lesson, never understood that word of the apostle. Greek philosophy was woven into the very fabric of Roman Catholic thought by the great theologian Thomas Aquinas, who not only tipped his hat to Aristotle, but said Aristotle was right. Aristotle could teach us many, many things. Aristotle has to be incorporated into the Christian religion. Roman Catholicism, in its theology, was the worst for it. Systems of thought. Roman Catholicism is a system of thought. Sacerdotalism is an elaborate, carefully constructed system of thought, which can be a stronghold for those who are seeking shelter from the cannon shots of the gospel. So it is with all forms of Arminianism. Let's not forget that. Arminianism also is born in the imaginations of men. You won't find it in the gospel. You won't find it in the scriptures. It isn't there, not even a hint of it. And in fact, the scriptures condemn it out of hand.